of technology. When you update, things change, whether you want them to or not. So trying to make sure everything is good set here. All right. So how was your 4th of July?
Oh, it was great. I'm just so old, I kind of slept through it, but they have a big shock and awe that goes on behind our house, in our little town here surrounds a lake. So it's a really big deal and everybody comes out and has fun and it's a big day. How about you guys?
Oh, we just stayed in. It is so hot over here, and thinking about going outside. And then of course with heat, it gets people who are angry, and it was just hot and humid, and we just decided to stay in. And we cooked at the house and just had watched TV, rented some movies, and played board games. So we had a good family night.
That's nice. That's a good thing. It
Yeah.
feels like 113 here with
Oh wow.
60% humidity. So I think it's hotter
Right.
out there, right? Isn't it hotter out where you
Uh,
are?
it seems like it. I know you guys, in Florida have that humidity, but it's just so hot. And then um, sometimes when you get around the places that have like the blacktop, the parking, it adds to that. Even if you're not on there, you can just feel the heat from it. So we just decided to stay home and have a family time. So
Very wise. That sounds
all
wonderful.
right. All right, Mado, for everybody for coming. I know it's the middle of summer, kids are out. It's hard to log on, but can you guys see what I'm sharing? Because I don't think you guys can. For some reason, my computer's not acting right. I think she's getting a little tired.
It's kind of small on my screen, but if I like with my device, if I do
Uh-huh.
I can make it where I can see it, but I don't know about everybody else.
Okay, how about that? Did that make it a little bit better?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So these are some of the phrases that we are trying to work with. All right. Yes. Okay. Lee said yes. Mado. Um, one of the things that I had said in our previous class is that I work with students in class on Friday. And so they wanted to learn and just try to speak some of the things that we are learning, the phrases and everything. So we're trying to do an activity at the end of the this module so we can actually sit down and use some of the phrases. And I know that's going to be hard, but it's going to be fun. So we're talking about having a dinner. So I figure that all of these phrases you will be able to use whenever your family or whenever you get together with somebody. And okay, yeah, I thought I had broken this one down, but I guess not. So I've been working on all of the PowerPoints, trying to get the audio matched up with the phrases and with the terms. And one of the things I was talking to some of the Mvhayvs about, because they look at me like, why do you keep asking me to say these things? And like I let you guys know, I'm still learning. So my voice sounds choppy when I speak Muskogee. And those of you who've heard some of our other Mvhayvs, they can tell the difference when I speak something or when some of the other beginners speak something and when first speaker speaks something. So I tell them, I said, I want to be able to show you guys how I learn and how I break things down. And I'll say it and I'll teach it. But then I also have on here the PowerPoints where you can hear their voice, because we all want to get to sound like a first speaker with all of the tones and the intonations on some of the words. And how I learned, like I said, was more academic. And so to me, it sounds good until I hear a speaker speak and I'm like, ooh, okay, that's what I'm supposed to be sounding like. So like I said, we're all learning. And I just try to break things down so you guys can understand it a little bit easier. All right, so the phrases, I've got an old pair of glasses. I misplaced my other ones. So you're gonna have to see me squinting a little bit, but that's okay. Do you want dessert? Nakchumba jiaja. Do you want dessert? This is, do you want more? Hadam jiaja. Do you want more? Do you want water? And like I've explained before, you could say wiwa or owa. That's why it's in parentheses. Wiwa is an older way from what I understand, and owa is a lot of the ways that some of the newer generations are pronouncing it. But the story that I heard from Mvhayv Stephen was wiwa owa was the whole word for water, wiwa owa. And he heard that from an elder. So, you know, these are some of the things you won't find in any of our books. They're passed down. Hey, this is an old way of saying it, wiwa owa. And just like soda pop, some people say soda, some people say pop. Just depends on where you're from. But it's not wrong either way. You know, and now I hear people say, oh, you want a Coke? Okay, what kind? You know, do you want a Sprite? So, you know, that's just, like I said, the nuances of language. So, wiwa jiaja or owa jiaja. And then, what do you want to drink? Nagin iskida jiaja. Oh, I think I need to put a space in between there. What do you want to drink? Do you have something to drink? Nak iskida ojitcha. What time is it? Hasi akithka najoma. And I got Mvhayv Barnett saying this, so hopefully it's all matched up today. I did go back and reattach it. So you'll hear how a speaker speaks it. Where's the bathroom? Estiman chugaji oji doa. And when I was making this up, I didn't have oji, O-C-E, oji doa, but Mvhayv Barnett said that I needed to put that there. So, you know, like I said, I've learned different ways from academically, but I think I would rather learn the details from a speaker. So that's why that's there. I'm going to the bathroom. Chukuji ayes. Chukuji ayes. So even if you're not having a dinner or something, you know, you're with your family and you're chukuji ayes, you know, you can say that. So everybody around you, nobody around you will know what you're saying unless they speak Muskogee. So that's one of the things that I like using Muskogee for is, you know, when we're at the, you know, out eating or out and I say, oh, I'm going to go chukuji. Now I can say chukuji ayes and they know I'm going chukuji. So that's cool to learn. And so nobody knows what you're saying except probably your family or those who speak Muskogee. I've just returned to the state of Oklahoma from living abroad. And so I was joking around with my kids. Of course, everybody does that, but we'd be in the department store and I was like, hey, Fumby, come here. You know, just pet words for your kids. You know, Fumby means stink. And I have to, oh, go ahead. Somebody have a question? Okay. All right. So I have to remember now that I'm back in Oklahoma, people know what I'm saying. And so one time I was in a store and I said, hey, Fumby, go get me some bread. And my child turned around and looked at me and said, shh, people know what you're saying. I'm like, oh, you're right. So just remember when you're learning Muskogee, if you're speaking it and you're saying pet names like that, just remember some people know what you're saying. Okay, I want a drink. Iskida jiajak. And that's one of the things we were talking about for Mvhayv Barnett. I said, I've never heard jiajak. And she said, sometimes you have to like jiaja up at the top. Jajak. Sometimes you drop the last letter. And then that went into another big conversation. I was like, okay, when do I know when to drop the last letter? And she's like, that's a good question. Because I guess the speakers and people who have always grown up around the language, they said if it doesn't sound, well, what she said is if it doesn't sound right, then you drop it. And people know what you're talking about. But I haven't gotten to that point yet to know when I can drop things and when I can't. So she said, that's a good question. And there's no definite rules to know that, but eskida jiaja. I think it's supposed to have the V there, jiaja, or eskida ja yajak. Yeah, I was thinking up here, G, ja yajak. All right, so that's why it's ending with a C, and there's no rules from what she was telling me. You just have to know. So hopefully with me throwing different phrases and different things out there, we'll start catching some kind of a hint when to drop and when not to drop. All right. And it is hard to learn Muskogee. Muskogee, githera ikchidos. Muskogee, githera ikchidos. It is hard to learn Muskogee, especially for those of us who don't hear it every day. Even though I work with the speakers, I don't hear it every day. Because all the speakers are out and about teaching the classes, you know, to the elementary, to the high school, the middle school. So we don't always get together and speak or listen. But when we do, I'm catching more things. So I hope that you guys are able to do that as well. So let me see if I can get this and if it's going to work today for you guys to hear these. Let me know if you can hear it once I start it.
Nak chamba chiaja. Hadam chiaja. Number 3. Uwa chiaja or wiwa chiaja. 4. Nagin iskida chiaja. What do you want to drink? 5. Nak iskida ojicha. 6. Hasiskifka najoma. 7. Istaman chuguji ujidowa. 8. Chuguji ayes. 9. Iskida chayach. 10. Muskogee githida yikchidos.
All right, so now you can see how, like I said, I'm still learning. I know how to say these things, but it just doesn't have quite the same feel to it yet. It still sounds a little bit choppy and a little bit hesitant because, you know, you're sitting there and you're trying to put all these correct sounds together when you're used to looking at or hearing English. And sometimes it's your brain fighting itself, trying to switch to Muskogee. All right, so I'm glad you guys got to hear that because that's one of the big things I've been working on is trying to make things as easy as possible for those of us who are learning Muskogee. And to me, it makes it easier when I can hear and imitate and mimic the speakers because you want to get those sounds correctly. And not only being able to read and write, but to speak it. And that's what my goal is. And that's something I present to you guys to get that little detail of the language, because you can, when you start hearing some of them, the speaker speaking, it's got a rhythm, it's got its own, like Amy said, almost like its own song, you know, and not everybody says it the same, but they have like the same rhythm. Some of the tones are just slightly different, but it's really pretty. All right. I didn't get a Spoky Days done today. I was, like I said, I was trying to make sure that my computer here was going to be helpful today because she's been a little cranky. All right. And these are the classroom terms that I'm trying to get us all to start speaking little things, even just throughout the day and you know, and to carry it over to our work area when we're asking questions. If you don't know, kithaks. It's the very first one. I don't know, kithaks. And these little lines over the E's, from when I looked it up in the dictionary, it says that this curved line right here, the reason I put that on there, because it's got the eh sound. Because remember, there's 2 E sounds, eh and E. And I'm trying to look things up, and when I get a chance, make everything detailed so we can understand how the words are supposed to sound. Kithaks. I don't know. And this one, legibus, have a seat. And I don't have all of them because sometimes some of these words are not in the dictionary. So I asked some of the speakers, and depending on who I ask, that's how I present it. And because, like I said, sometimes like the word for dog, Iva, is how I learned it. And then I heard people say Ifa with the long E. So Ifa or Ifa. And so when I was talking to somebody about an animal and they were talking about Ifa, they knew they were talking about a dog. But I just kind of smile because I pronounce it Ifa. I don't know if it's just regional or if it's the Seminole way versus the Muskogee Creek way. I don't know, because I am Seminole and I am Creek. So, but I've learned more or heard more of the Seminole ways. Every now and then growing up, I'd hear it on our holidays. All right, so Legibus, you see the long E there. And then Hadam Magus. So I did go back through and I did make the corrections. Hadam Magus. So if you can see, I have written here Hadam Magus. So that helps us sound it out when we need help. And even when you start not needing so much help, if you're reading something, say you're reading the Muskogee Bible and you come across a word, just break it down, sound it out, and just keep going. And in the Bible, there's a lot of repetitive words. So you'll probably come across that again. And the more you practice it, the more it'll come. And if you have any questions on pronunciations, you can always call the Muskogee Creek Language Program. And one of the speakers will help you to sound it out, or you can even ask them to say it and then you are going to record it. So you can, get that association. All of our speakers are really helpful in trying to teach and trying to show the correct pronunciations. All right. So you see for help, amanagus, help. And then for the next one, listen, mabohagus, listen. And the next one, it's got this one, from what like I said, I've looked up in the dictionary, it's got the short E. So it's like hijus. And then I've heard people say hijus, but that's what the dictionary had, the short E, hijus. It could be either or. I'm not gonna fault anybody for learning. All right, and that means look. And then stop is fikhonas, stop. And then teacher, mahaya, teacher. It is so good to see you. And this one's kind of throws me because I'm not used to saying this one. Chihijayat hivi dos. Chihijayat hivi dos. So that should be a short E. Chihijayat hivi dos. It is good to see you. And as you see, I was able to update this and make the spaces as required. For some reason, in Canva, when I make these, the spaces disappeared, or I must have just fat fingered. I'm not sure. All right, so put it here. Hayan olages. Hayan olages. You see that I switched to English because it was an A sound, but hayan olages. And like I said, we all do that. Even the speakers sit there and like, wait, and then they have to redo it. But, not everybody can speak right the first time, and that's okay. We're all learning. Just remember the ayan oleges. All right. Chogahija, student. You see the long E, chogahija. And then, do you understand me? Ankifgetska. All right. Do you understand me? So, like I said, I'm trying to break it all down. Everybody's on a different part of their language journey. And we always have people who are beginning, sometimes in the middle of our modules or middle of our classes, but that's okay. I'm trying to capture everybody so we can all learn and we can start speaking. So whenever you get a chance, print this or write it down. And so if you have a question, and like I said, when you guys say this helps me remember and to learn, because sometimes people say something, I'm like, I know I heard that before, but I don't remember what it means. Repetition, repetition. So if you need help, I'm anagus. Or I'm gonna try to say Mvhayv. Listen, Mvhayv. And then say it again, say it again. Hadam magas. All right, so these are some of the words that we want to try to use going forward. If not today, in other classes, try to keep that on the side so you can see it and refer back to it. And I will try to do the same. And sometimes, like I said, if you guys say it and I'm like, then I might have you explain what you're saying in English, because like I said, we're both still learning. And if you don't use some of these words, you're going to remember it when, for the first couple of days, and then it'll just kind of disappear. If you don't, you can continue using it. All right. Let's see if we have that on the, with the sound. I did put it with the sound, so hopefully it will work this time. Let's see. Let's see. Hopefully this one's working. I keep having to update. Let's see.
Kistax, Legibus, Hadamagas, Amanajas, Mvhayv, Hijas, Ficunus, Mahaya, Chihijaya, Hithitus, Hian Uhlejas, Chugahija, Angifiska.
All right. See, so you can see how, like I said, I'm a little choppy, but you can hear like all of these little tones and stuff that I don't quite capture yet. And like I said, these are on the Google Drive. So whenever you get a chance, just refer back to the Google Drive, practice your pronunciations, and things will come. Even if you practice some of these, it'll make it easier down the road because your mouth will remember how to move and say some of these things. All right. And let's see. Yeah. Okay. Infinitive verbs. Okay. The infinitive verbs right here are what we are going to use starting next week, how to break everything down and to conjugate to I am not doing something. I am not going to do something. That's what we're doing for module 3. I am not going to cook. I am not going to eat. I am not going to sleep. Sounds like a little defiant little child, a toddler. Okay, so infinitive verbs. You see right here, I have it broken down. Yahegita, to sing. And pohita, to hear. I didn't quite get to write the little inflections over the E. Pohita, to hear. But I will go back and I will refresh. Anytime that we find something that's going to help us in the future, I try to backtrack and update it in notes, even in module 1 and module 2, because I want these things to be out there. So if, you have a stumbling block and you need to go back to the very beginning and refresh, it'll be there with added notes that we learned that helps everybody to understand and to speak. All right. Oh, okay. The next one is to speak, to talk. Obanyeta. All right. Obanyeta. And to write. Ojejida. To write. To read. Ohonanyeda. Nayeda. Yep. To read. To cry, yahegida, to cry. To go about, atheda, to go about. To work, adotgeda, to work. All right, does anybody have any questions on this one or anything that we've done so far today? Or any questions at all? All right, so let me see if this one will work today. I reattached all of the sounds, so hopefully you can hear the speaker speaking. All right.
Yahegida. Bohida. Abonayida. Hochejida. Ohonayida. Hagekida. Asida. Adotkida.
All right, so you can hear the speaker speaking and you can hear how smooth it goes. And like I said, we're trying to do it little syllable by syllable, and then you will catch it, and then you just start making it a little smoother. And then you listen to Mvhayv Barnett as she speaks it, and try to get those little inflections and little hesitations, and like the one with the two H's. Let's see, Ohonyada. Oh, you can hear the breathy. Oh. So, like I said, let me go ahead and play that again. You can
Yahegida.
hear that.
Bohida. Abonayida. Hochejida. Ohonayida.
Oh, you see that?
Hagekida. Asida. Adotkida.
All right, you hear that? That's that breathy H sounds. It's not quite a strong, clear H. It's oh, like that. So it's that oh, that breathy sound. All right. So like I said, I like to show them and then show me, and you can see the difference. We're all getting there, but not all of us are quite there yet. But that is what I had done for the first class. Thank goodness it's working today, because the other day it was not having it. Let's see if we can do. All right. So that was class 1. Ooh, let's see. Let me go back to class 1. I think they had our notes there, because this is, oh, here it is. Future 1 tense negation. Future 1 tense negation shows that someone is not going to do something. I am not going to eat. I am not going to sleep. I am not going to drive. I'm not going to work. Something like that. There is no L grading in future 1 tense. L grading is something we did in module 1. No L grading in module 2 or 3. Future 1 negation, drop the ETV, add the tense marker ahan. So that means going to, I should put in parentheses, going to, so you know what tense marker means, going to. Add the person marker. Remember, it's, and nothing. The is I, it's is you, and nothing is she, he, it, and they. I will add on to that, so it will be a little bit clearer for you guys. Add the negation suffix or affix, which was go or eco. And I will add on there to these notes that when we use ego, the last letter in our conjugation word before we add step 4, if it has a consonant, you add a vowel. So you would add eco, like humbada. It ends with a P, and then, okay, so right here, first person. So first person would always be go, because you don't add the and then you don't add another vowel. So first person looks like you always add go, because that's the next step. All right. And if it ends with a like that, because it has a vowel, you don't add a vowel. So you add go. Add your subject marker and your auxiliary verb, which is am, are, is, and period. So that's what we're doing here in module 3. And I tried to break it down a little further. And like I said, these are, let's see, our infinitive verbs right here. These are infinitive verbs. So we're going to conjugate infinitive verbs. And we can even reach back and conjugate from module 1 or module 2. So we're just adding on to what we've already known. So those of us who's been a module 1, you got infinitive verbs and you've got your vocabulary words. You can use those because you know them now. Module 2, the same thing. You have your infinitive verbs and you have new vocabulary words. In module 3, these are our new infinitive verbs. And like I said, I like to give it to you in bite-sized chunks because I don't want to overwhelm you. I know it gets overwhelming to learn any kind of language, and sometimes it gets a bit boring. I'm not gonna lie. But once we use it and once we incorporate like some of the videos that I'm looking for, or even our song, like Espogides Omis Gifiscos. That is a song that will help us to capture the mouth movements. I was not able to do that today. Like I said, I was having a lot of hard time today with PowerPoint. PowerPoint was not my friend today, but that's okay. We're just going to work with what we got. I saved things, and when I went back, it was not there. And those of you who know anything about computers, sometimes you do all the right things and it has a mind of its own. All right. Okay. So I was trying to make I know in the previous module 2, I made a template for you guys. I tried to make it as easy as possible. I do have a template for this. I was making a PowerPoint trying to show you guys step by step by step. So you can just plug and play any infinitive verb that we've gone over. We can just plug it in there. Like I said, PowerPoint was not my friend. She was losing things. It's after the holidays. She didn't have her head straight, so she wasn't helping. All right. So this is this is what I had. This is the PowerPoint. So I can show you step by step by step. She lost interest for a little bit, so it just kind of skipped, but we'll go through that today. All right, so one of the things that I like to constantly do is humbida, because humbida, we all have that in common. We all eat. So right there at the top, I have HOMPETV, humbida, to eat. The first step right here is humbida, to eat. You just put your verb there, humbida, and they all end in ETV, the ones that we were using now. Humbida, you drop the ETV right here is the second step, and you see in red, you drop the ETV, it's got a cross line through it, and then you get your verb stem right there. There's your verb stem, HOMP, and there's no L grading, and so you just keep dropping it down to the next line, to the next line. So we're just constantly adding one step, another step, another step, another step. So you can see how to conjugate, and you'll eventually get to the point where you don't need to go step by step. You'll just remember, right? So we've got your verb stem, no L grading, and then you add ahan, ahan. Add the person marker or add the tense marker going to. And you see it has going to. Ahan means going to. All right. And then you drop it down even further. Home, ahan. And then you add your because right now this is first person. We're using first person today. Home, ahan, And then you drop it down. Oh, see, like I said, she decided to do her own thing. So I had to cut those slides out that she didn't quite make it. And now you see, so you go to Hombahan, Eco, Orko, and since this has the you add Ko. Hombahan, Ko. And you see it in the next line, the light blue line, Hombahan, Ko. You add your T. All right, you drop that down to the next line. Hombahan, Ko, and you got the T or D sound. Hombahan, Ko, os. You add your auxiliary verb. So you drop all of that down, and you will see on the presentation here, you've got your verb stem in red. You've got your tense marker going to ahan in black. You've got your darker blue, which is your person marker, and we're talking about I, which is I am doing something. And then you add your purple, which is the negation, which is ko or ego. In this instance, we're going to add ko because we already got the there. We don't add two vowels together. And the next line is the T. Add the subject marker T. And then the following step is the add the os. which means am, are, is. So let's see if she's got it. No, she doesn't. Okay. So if you look at the very bottom, you drop all of that down. It's home, ahan, got, os. Hombahan, got, os. And that is a mouthful to say. So just practice hombahan, got, os. And as I said before, some people move the T to the over to the os and hombahan, ako, dos. So it's either or. You can do either or. I've learned it both ways, but this is hombahan ako os. That's how I'm showing it. It can be hombahan ako dos. All right. Does anybody have any questions on that? I will finish this up and hopefully, I don't know if she got overheated or what the deal is, but I will create it to where you will have another template. All of this stuff is gone and you can just print it out. And I know, Amy, I know you've done this before. You've actually used the template. So I encourage everybody to use the template and practice because that's one of the ways we're going to be able to learn. Is to sit there and just choose one of the infinitive verbs from any of the modules, plug and play, plug it in there. Just do step by step by step. And like I said, once you keep doing this and you get in the habit of that, you will be able to do it without thinking. I'm not quite there, but I'm getting there. So I'm excited. I'm just trying to show you breaking down everything, what each little thing does and what it means. I know I've taken some courses where it's just remembering this phrase and what it means. But I like the fact that I can break it down and understand why it means this. And I know there's some out there who are like me, like to know why. Okay, ahan means going to, the verb stem. And then the means person marker in the whole thing. And the negation, ko or equal. So these are little clues when you hear people talking, and I hear people talking when we go to different places with the Muskogee language program. And you're sitting there and you're listening to the Mvhayvs and they're talking like, I caught that word. I caught that word. I caught that word. So now you're going to eco or ko means negation. All right. And ahan, like ahan equal dos. Ahan means going to. So now you can start hearing these things in somebody's conversation. But the really weird thing about the language is sometimes like thaco is rakko, thaco. Sometimes that doesn't always mean horse. Sometimes it means big, so you just kind of have to learn and get into it and just keep attending the classes, attend all of the Mvhayv's classes because you will learn something. All right, so that's, I can find that. Does anybody have any questions so far? Is that making sense? Like I said, I will put this out there to where everything is gone and you will have a template. Right now, like I said, I made a PowerPoint to show you step by step by step instead of me trying to use the little pencil tool. I think this works better for me. But this is also out there in the Google Drive. Is there anybody who needs me to post the Google Drive into the chat? Let's see, because this is where all of this stuff is located. Let's see, hopefully module 3. Let me go ahead and post it. Copy, and it will be in the chat here and paste. All right. Okay. So this is where it should bring you to is my drive, my lesson, or my drive lessons in Mvhayv Desiray. You can see if you need to, you can refresh for module 1, module 2. There's even 28 March, I had to fill in for somebody. So that was stuff that we use for that. You can take a look at that, module 3. One thing I wanted to show you guys, because I know I've told some people this and we have people coming in and out. If you need to refresh on your sounds, this is I have been putting all my words of the day here. So here's the sounds. And when we had our language program, everybody got a little behind in things. So I know this is May and it has not all been released as far as I know, but it's out here on the Google Drive if you guys don't see it on our Instagram or Facebook. And let's see. Here, let me play one for you. Hopefully you can hear it.
E, short E sound. The sound is in the word hit. The sound is in the word itto.
I got that. And then the long E sound.
E, long sound. The sound is in the word feet. The sound is in the word igana.
All right, so I have those out there on the Google Drive. Like I said, sometimes Facebook or Instagram, for whatever reason, they can remove things. I know I've said before, I got removed. Some of my posts got removed because it said it does not adhere to community standards. And I couldn't understand why, because it was a chickpea salad recipe. And so somebody got offended by chickpea salad recipe. And I told them, of course, you got your little place to refute it. And I did, but I don't think my recipe ever came up there. I was trying to save it for myself. On some of my social media, when I post things, it's not for anybody, it's for myself. I want that recipe. I'm going to look it up later on, so chickpea salad got deleted for some reason. So thinking about all that, I put all of these out here for your convenience. One of the things that I did say to our supervisor was that for those of us who are learning English first, sometimes you can catch the hint or even the sound in an English word for Muskogee. And if you're trying to switch your brain over from English to Muskogee, you're looking at, well, shoot, I don't know what the word IO means. I don't even know how it sounds because it's a Muskogee word. So that's why I put these references for English and Muskogee out there. So if you can go straight to the Muskogee sounds, then that's great. But there's some of us who have to start out with English and try to flip our thinking to Muskogee. And that's why, like for Oklahoma, and then Futchke, Futchke. So these are things that hopefully will catch a majority of people who have questions. And I know a lot of the ones that we have, like the ooh and the sometimes even the speakers, we go back and we're like, okay, this is the one that gets confusing a lot right here.
Ooh, the sound is in the word shoe. The sound is in the word tuchinen.
So you see right there when you're, I know sometimes like we're talking about Muskogee and then you see the U and you're like, like under, but it's not, it's ooh. And that happens to me. And the reason, like I said, the reason I do these things is because I know what you guys are going through. I've gone through that. I'm still going through that. And I'm trying to help us recapture those sounds. And this one also.
The sound is in the word under. The sound is in the word aji.
So you would think the U would be but it's not, it's ooh. And the V is the sound. So that's why, I put this out there because I know not only I need to refresh myself sometimes, but I know other people need to refresh the sounds. And these are out there. If you don't see it on our Instagram, you have the Google Drive address. So you can just pop over here and look at what is created to help you guys. And this is for March. This is what I had done for March. This is all out there. I want to make sure that you guys are getting new words. And what I try to do is almost like double, multitask. You're learning in here, you learned March, you learned some of these words for March. And at the end, right here, we learned March the 2nd right here. We learned why we learned these words. It was the tobacco story. And some of you guys have heard this before, but I'm trying to teach and then teach again. Because, I think it's really cool, almost like a clue. Why are we learning these words? And then at the end, you've got that big, oh, this is why. Well, we've changed it up a little bit because we've had a little, I don't know what to call it. Some people didn't see the relevance in some of the words that I was throwing out there. And because they didn't know why I was doing that. And what I was doing is I was doing a Muskogee hymn. And right here, I was doing a hymn. So you had words like preacher, you had younger brothers and sisters, Christian. And some people were offended by that, but that's okay because we're not going to capture everybody, And it's just some words that people asked for a hymn. So now we're trying to put ahead of time what we're doing. So you know the relevance of the words that you're learning. So if we tell you, these are words to a hymnal, this is a hymn, this is the hymn that we're learning. Then now okay, we're not trying to throw something at you. We're not trying to indoctrinate you into something. We're just trying to educate those who asked for them. All right. And like I said, we have started putting the reasoning before, the making of these, like the grape dumplings, Puffko Afki. We put that on there, and you see some of the things, you've got here. You've got Sidifki. That one was melts because in the recipe there was no word for dissolves. So I had to talk to one of the Mvhayvs.
Sidifki.
So melts because there's no word for dissolve, because there's not always a corresponding word in Muskogee for an English word, because a lot of our words are descriptive, like this one.
Dohaka.
So wooden spoon. If you look at dohaka, the spoon is haka. The wooden is dohaka. So ido, you see the apostrophe in front. That means they drop the e. Ido haka. It's dohaka. So ido is tree. So that would be tree spoon, wooden spoon. So I was told every time there's this little apostrophe right here, something is dropped. And that's just like a placeholder. Hey, there was something else here, but this is how we say it now. Dohaka. It would be idohaka, tree, spoon. So dohaka, wooden spoon. All right. So these are some of the cool things that I've learned, and I'm trying to pass on to you guys and show you some of the things that, the reasoning behind that I can understand. Sometimes there's no rules. And like I said, there's no reasoning. You just have to know. All right. So it looks like that's everything I've got for you today. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. If you need to reach out, you can always call the Muskogee Language Program. And like I said, the words of the day were right here in the link that I just gave you guys. And those are all, for the majority, besides the sounds like the ah, the majority of them are voiced by our first speakers. All right. Anybody have any questions? All right, we will expand on this next week. I will finish this week. I will finish making the template, Amy, so you can just print it out and just plug and play. I know that was cool when you were showing me you were able to use that.
I loved it. Thank you for all the immense amount of work that you put into this. You make it seem so easy, and you're so very humble. And thank you. It's just beautiful, beautiful work. And when I describe the Mvhayv Olgi, all of you, it's like a choir, and you each have your different notes that you sing, like you're in your classes, and it takes everybody's note. It's so unique to do it. And I just love it. I love getting to know you guys through your work. And this is just beautiful. These words of the day. I mean, it's just like aesthetic, and it has the sound, and it's just, it's beautiful work. So thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it a lot. I love it.
Lee says, Mado, the resources you put together is fantastic. Oh, great. I didn't forget yours, Amy, about the beads. I talked to the archaeologist, and I was asking him about beads. He gave me a paper that they put together in the archaeological journal. So it's already published. So that was cool, that just from your suggestion, I'm learning more. And then once I get everything set, I can put it forward in word of the day. And it was talking about, and it goes, and like I said, I try to do double dip. I try to multitask, show you culture with the words. Have the words have a meaning, why we're learning this. Puffko Afki, you know some of the things now to, make and you have the recipe right there. So I'm trying to learn and make it fun because, I'm learning Puffko Afki, or I'm learning, why what we used as far as beads and stuff like that. So if you guys have any questions or comments or even suggestions on words of the day, just throw me an email, give us a call, and then they'll let me know if you leave a suggestion with them. But I like learning, and I like trying to make it fun, and I try to throw a lot of things in there at the same time because that's how I learn. A lot of color, a lot of creativity, and I know our native people, if you look at our culture, we've got bright colors. We adorned ourselves beautifully, not basically for anybody else, but for our own feel good, colors make you feel good. And you see that today, people have tattoos, and the thing that I've seen on some of the old pictures and the old documents and stuff is they had tattoos on their faces. They had tattoos. But with European culture, things changed, and things that we may have thought was known was beautiful, other people may not have. So things change, but I try to, like I said, share culture with everybody, share color, share things. And like I said, if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions, let me know, and I can try to do some word of the day. I'm finishing up May and June, and this is the week to get everything caught up and start on July. So, all right, Mado, and I thank you for your encouragement, because sometimes all of us we're like, is anybody learning anything? Am I doing anything relevant? So it's
yes.
nice to hear that. Yeah.
Well, when I started with you all, I only knew the word Mado. So if you think I'm not learning something, I mean, I wasn't even sure until we were doing that app that Cassandra's beating me in every single week, I might add. But all of a sudden, I'm like answering these questions like, I know more than I realize. I still need to connect the head to the speaking, so I'm looking forward to that. But it's in here. It's just coming out. And the Kolashwa conversation means a lot to me, because that was the last thing my mom did, was she was learning to bead at the last with her. She's was not Muskogee, she was Cherokee heritage. So that means a lot to my heart to learn those words, because it was like her last gift to me, so that's amazing. So Mado.
All right, Inga. All right, if there's no other questions or suggestions or comments, we're going to go ahead and close this. And I enjoy hearing your feedback, because that makes us all happy. I'm retired and bored, Amy. Cassandra said to Amy, I'm retired and bored, Amy. All right. Well, Mado. All right. And I will see you guys next week, if not Friday. And just have a safe weekend. And I will see you Monday. Mado.
Mvhayv.
All right.
Always have to tease, you know that.
Oh, I know. I sit here all day with just my dog and nothing to do. So.
All right, Mado, for coming.
Mvhayv, teach you got this.